So, Gayl Murphy, we have a real pro here. I mean, ABC News, the BBC, AP Radio, and E. I mean, you have been just all over the place in the mainstream. So, but now you've taken your background and you've written this book on interview tactics for people who don't have your amazing background. And what do you find is the biggest misconception that people have when they're going to go and do a talk show appearance or an interview? What do they have expectations that are a bit off or unrealistic?
Well, I think the biggest one is they think people are going to listen to them talk for
Exactly.
7 minutes without stopping.
Yeah, that was a leading question.
That
Thank
they
you.
can just go on, and you're just going to hang on every single word.
And that you're going to follow all their questions, right?
Yeah. Well, your business, product, or service is never going to speak for you. I mean, that is total. That falls under the category of magical thinking. So that is never going to happen. But the biggest single mistake people make when they do interviews is they think it's about them. It's not. It's about the story. I am on this show. I'm on any show to show how smart you are. My job here is to say, oh my gosh, let's watch that show on LA Talk, the Book Beat, because they have such great people on it. So the skill set is that you have the ability to pull in really good people. My job is to reinforce that. So it's to show up. But the biggest single thing people don't do when they do an interview is they don't prepare. So they don't know what sound bites are. They don't know what talking points are. They don't know the language of the media. I say prepare in advance and know what you're going to say before you say it. Just don't write a script. Think more along the lines of bullet points so you don't sound like a robot. And at the end of the day, it all comes down to 4 questions anyway.
And what are those for?
I call it the Fab Four. Thank you. I set you up on that.
and I took the.
You took the bait
Wasn't that
beautifully.
beautiful?
Thank you. Thank you. Check, please. It is the Fab Four, and it's who are you? Who are you? What are you selling? Why do I need it? What problem is it going to solve for me? And where can I find it? How do I get it? So you may be asked 50 questions, but it's all basically going to leapfrog off of those 4 questions.
So you kind of like have to sometimes steer it back to that, right?
Well, I have a 5-part workbook in the back of my book, Interview Tactics, which actually teaches you how to find your story. Once you have your story and you know what falls under who am I, what am I selling, why do I need it, and where can I get it, then you can just steal from yourself. You just work the pedals because you know the story.
Right. And the host, you see, one of the biggest misconceptions I feel people have is, especially if they're asked to submit questions, they really think that the host is going to go down these questions and go like, well, and some of the questions I've gotten are like, why did your friends like your book so much? Or we actually got one like that.
Yeah.
Or
mine is number 8. Why did my friends like the book so much?
Oh, okay. But we know, and you come from mainstream, and I have a similar background, and we know that your editor or a talk show producer, their host, we have angles. We have angles that we want to bring out in the show. The show has a purpose, or if it's an interview for the press, the editor has given the reporter an angle, right?
Well, the media is in the news business, let's
Yes.
face it. They're not in the business of promoting your business, product, or service.
Exactly.
If your business, product, or service makes them look good, guess what? You're the media darling of the next 24 hours. That's about it. Yeah.
Right. So how do we learn to speak their language? Because that was great what you said. People have to speak the language of the media. So what is that?
Well, typically what I do, even when I have a media coaching client, I really have them buy the book first because time is money, so we can get down to it. But there's your pitch, sound bites, and talking points. So a soundbite is basically, and this is all based on my definition. I invented these definitions. That doesn't mean that I invented the definition of soundbites. This is Murphy's Law. A soundbite is a brief and outstanding mini version of who you are and what you're selling. A brief and outstanding mini version of who you are and what you're selling. A talking point is what you're going to talk about whenever you talk about who you are and what you do. My talking points for this interview quite possibly might not be the same talking points for my next interview. So how do I know which ones to use? Well, I do my homework. Getting back to what I said earlier, I prepare in advance. What do they like to talk about? What do they eat? What floats their boat? How do you get asked back again? What are their favorite things? You know what? You Googled me before this. Guess what? I Googled you too. So I know what you like. And that's the whole idea. Because I'm a good guest and I know what my job is. It's not to sell my book, which would be great, but it's to make, and I don't mean this in a condescending way, but it's to make you and your show look good. Which is I didn't just invent that. That's what it is. Because if I sat here and I didn't answer the questions and I had no energy and I gave you yes or no answers, guess what? A big hook would come and I would be gone.
Right, right. So I'll do something really unprecedented here. I'll say, what is the biggest point or thing you would like to make? Like how, if you had your dream interview right now and you could say anything you want, promote your book or tell us what's in it. So go ahead, tell us what's...
Well, my goal in writing the book and my goal for speaking and my goal for coaching is to change the way people think about the media forever. Absolutely. And I tell them when I speak, if after spending time with me, I haven't changed the way you think about the media, then you can take me out into the parking lot and kick my butt. So far, no one has done that or has even taken me up on it. But the fact is, we are broadcasting 24/7. You need to forget about everything you learned about the media in school. We are the media. And what I mean by that is, armed with a couple social media sites and an iPhone, you're broadcasting 24/7.
We're all networks now. We're all our own network, aren't we?
We are all our own network. So every single person that can hear you, see you, touch you, read your posts is potentially your next client, next customer, next fan. What is it that you really want them to know? That you just ate a donut?
Right.
Hello? Hello? And what happens when I tell people that, suddenly they go, oh my God, I just did tweet that I ate a donut.
Yeah.
I just posted that.
And I took a picture of it.
Half eaten.
Yeah.
I did a series, right?
I did a series, right? My donut series.
That's true.
Yeah.
So what happens is their eyes get all glazed over and I say, you know what, it's okay. Because every minute is a new day.
And it goes by so fast.
It goes by so fast. The fact is we need to do what we're doing with intention. You need to run your Facebook page, your Twitter, as if you have a store. It's showtime. You got to get the lead out of your pants. You have, and here's this. If you're one of those people that checks your email before you even get out of bed in the morning, you're broadcasting from under the covers.
Right.
That's right. It used to be that it was showtime from the minute you walked out of the house in the morning. That's not the case anymore. So, and this whole idea and concept of privacy is that also falls under the category of magical thinking.
Well, that's gone, isn't it?
Well, that's Dinosaurville.
Yeah. We some of us remember privacy, but you know.
Yeah. I think it's something that
kind of dates you.
Yeah, I think it went the way of the slip. Right?
Yeah, I don't know. It was concept that never got caught on.
Yeah. So I wrote my book because I'd met so many people when I worked for ABC News for a long time. And I had interviewed about 15,000 celebrities and newsmakers. And I met so many people along the way who had such a great product, such a great service, a great movie, a CD, a book, but were so unprepared to tell even another person about it.
Right.
That I thought, genius, I have the best idea ever. I will write the quintessential, Insider's Guide to Giving a Killer Interview, and I won't have to work so hard. Well, it turned into speaking and a coaching career, but that's really the reason. I mean, you just opened the show talking about how can you promote a book that you really like for an author that you don't even really know. I mean, it's pretty much the same kind of thing. You have to put yourself out there.
Well, you know, I think to a lot of people, and have you found that just giving a media interview, if you have no experience, is scary? It's very scary. So what do you say to them is there anything you say to set them at ease or any tip?
I say don't wait till your 20th interview. Now, when I have a publicist call me, I work a lot with the studios and the labels. I say, where are they? And I can hear the angels singing when they say, you know what, they're on the final mix of the first record. They haven't done anything, and the record will be released in 3 months. I mean, to me, that is just awesome.
Yeah, good timing.
But having done 6 or 7 interviews on big shows, because if you're a publicist for a label or a big PR firm, you only deal with very important outlets. And what happens is they say, you know what? Don't send me your talent anymore. Don't tell me you get your people taken care of. And then sometimes when they'll call and they'll say, do you think you could work with my talent? And I'm like, absolutely. So how many interviews have you done already? Oh, like 8. And we really need you.
So people, are kind of thrown into this, I mean, in other words, your book is for people who have very little experience, right? Or is it for all levels? Or
you know what? Because the media is everywhere, it's everything from it's radio, TV, print, online, FaceTime, and real time. Because the fact is that we're picking up tweets for this, and we're tweeting bits and pieces of what you say and what I say. Somebody could actually read one of those tweets and book both of us for CNN.
Yeah, and your tweets were great. I got like 1,000 tweets from you, between yesterday. And it was wonderful. I thought she's a real pro, she's really, walking the talk,
Hoot sweet, honey. Hoot sweet, let me tell you.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You get to schedule them, believe me.
I'll sign up right after the show.
Yeah, it's agony. It's agony.
Yeah. No, but it was great because I was looking at how you did pack that information, because I think that's a real skill. I mean, that takes focus. It takes a lot of focus to do a tweet that's going to do you some good and the host some good, right? So are these the kind of things, like what do you feel are, say, 2 or 3 of the most important things that you cover in this book for people?
One of the things I do when I walk people through this process on the interview tactics workbook, how to answer the questions and then pick out what your talking points are. Sometimes your talking points are just a word. Sometimes it's 2 words. You need to gather those together and then figure out ways to shorten them. Not so much on LinkedIn, not so much on Facebook, but Twitter, you definitely need to know how to do it. And you could do part 1 on one tweet and part 2 on another and part 3 on another.
That's true, yeah. But the focus is so important, isn't it? Doesn't it really boil down to that?
You have to pick one thing. For somebody like me, it's agony. One thing? Really? It's hard. Because
if they read your book, it's how to survive the media without getting clobbered.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do feel that they got clobbered, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's...
I feel clobbered right now. I'm kidding.
oh, dear. But, so if you are planning to go out and speak about your book or your film or who you are, what you do, this is a very important book from a pro. You've been a Hollywood correspondent. You know how to celebritize people.
I teach people how to celebritize themselves.
I see.
I give them the same tactics and techniques that some of the biggest superstars in business and entertainment use to celebritize themselves and their brands, so that you have a process. So that if you get called to do an interview, you have a process that you yourself own to get ready and to be able to do that.
And that's very empowering. That's very empowering, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think I would be a good coach if I didn't teach people how to do it on their own. I just think you talked about things about yourself being old-fashioned about certain things. I call it old school. But I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't teach people how to do it themselves.
And how can they get in touch with you?
They can go to interviewtactics.com. You could go to, if you're watching this, you can go to the website and I'll send you just a bunch of free interview tips and the first 2 chapters of the book.
So interviewtactics.com.
You bet.
Thank you so much,
Gayl
Murphy.
Thanks for having me. You were great.
You're a wonderful
A+.
guest.
Oh, thank you. You were just great.